And we are now joined by today's race-winning crew chief, Jeremy Bullins, of the #2 Discount Tire Ford for Team Penske. We're just going to go ahead and throw this wide open to questions. If you have a question, please raise your hand, and we will get to you if we have time. We're going to start with Lee Spencer. Lee, go ahead with your question. While we wait on Lee, let's go ahead and go to Stephen Conley. Go ahead with your question, Steve.
Congratulations on the win, Jeremy. This week you've got a full week off in between races. I'm wondering, how far ahead are you guys prepared, and what are you doing as far as communications with NASCAR, trying to get the rest of the schedule and preparation for that?
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of nice to have a break, not have a midweek race this week. So, but you look ahead to next week, we got, Atlanta and Martinsville in the middle of the week. So, and then Homestead. So there's still a lot going on, a lot of work being done. And, we're in pretty good shape on our Atlanta car. So I'm hoping we can get to work on the Martinsville car and have it ready early next week. We should get a good jump on it this week as well. So, as far as the rest of the schedule goes, I mean, everybody's working really hard on that. There's been a lot of work between NASCAR and the teams and the local governments everywhere. So, I expect all that to get cleared up pretty soon, and we'll have a better idea of what we got going on. But, I think the midweek stuff's been great. I think the format of what we've been doing on Sundays has been great too. So, obviously we've liked 2 out of the last 3. So, but yeah, it's been a fun few weeks.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Our next question is going to come from Jason Brown. Go ahead with your question, Jason.
Matt, thank you. Jeremy, same question I asked Brad earlier. When you came to pit road to take on the 2 tires with 41 to go, was the thinking that if something happens up front that you guys might be a little bit better prepared to make a move there late in the race?
Well, my thought was we only had about 18 or 20 laps on the tires, so I thought more guys would do too that pitted. And the lefts have been wearing more than the rights all day, and we've seen that in the past where cars can make some speed with just lefts. And I at least wanted to cover the guys that did too, if anybody did. And I wasn't too worried about putting fresh rights on. As long as we had better lefts, I thought we could make a charge up through there. And we had a couple good restarts there and stayed out of trouble and got ourselves in position to capitalize at the end.
Thank you.
Our next question will come from Jim Utter. Go ahead with your question, Jim.
Jeremy, after the race, Brad talked about how he felt the team had really developed a never give up attitude and had been gelling quite a bit. Had started to, and then the pandemic came and kind of got disrupted. You haven't had maybe not the fastest car in your 2 wins in the last 3 races, but that quality, how important do you feel that is to be a legitimate championship contender?
I think that means everything. I think, the fact that we know that we just have to keep Brad in the fight and keep him in position to where he can make something happen. And, I think if we do that, if we can manage to do that throughout the day, he's certainly not going to give up. And I think our team has shown, just how strong he can be when you put him in the right position. And we've been able to do that a couple times. And, I thought we had a decent car today, definitely not the fastest car, but we made it better. The last couple of adjustments, we were getting better and better again. And, we were good early and just not so good through the middle. And we kept restarting on the bottom, and that killed us. But, I think I've told these guys from when we got, paired up with Brad, I said, he can do some special things if you put him in the right situation. And we've been able to do that a couple times, and hopefully we can keep doing it.
And how much was your preparation, or how much did your thought process change going into this race with the adjustments to the short track rules package this year?
It's a lot like Phoenix. When we went to Phoenix going into that race, we studied a lot more of 2018 and than we did last year, really. We kind of looked at the offsets and things that we did from 2018 to 2019 and kind of backed up a step and tried to learn from things that worked here in 2018. And especially with no practice, again, I got 2 of the best engineers in the business, and I think they did a really good job, helping come up with a game plan, and credit to them for coming up with a good setup.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next question will come from Bob Pockris. Go ahead with the question, Bob.
Yeah, Jeremy, when they told you that you were going to have Brad as your driver, if they had said you're going to win 2 of your first 9 races, would you have said, okay, that'll work?
I never doubt what you're capable of with Brad. I mean, we had a ton of success in the Xfinity car, and We won some races that we were dominant and had the best car, and we won some races where we didn't have the best car, but we fought all day and put ourselves in position to win. And I think Charlotte, we were probably a little faster than we were here, and we weren't as good as the 9, but we were good enough to get in position to race at the end, and we did the same thing today.
And do you, us in the media, we like to talk and speculate about what Brad might be doing next year. And I'm curious, do you feel like, does that need to get done so that you guys have kind of knowledge of it? Or can you guys ignore what's any of that talk and just go do your job?
He and I have talked a lot about it, and we've both said it's not going to be a distraction to what we're doing. And if we keep having days like this, it won't matter anyways.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next question will come from Stephen Toronto. Go ahead with your question, Stephen.
Jeremy, normally we race Bristol earlier in the springtime, but this is the latest we've ever run this particular Bristol race at late May, early June. Considering that now we're going to be going to a lot of racetracks we normally race at earlier in the spring, and we're going to have hotter, slicker conditions closer to summertime, exactly what frame of reference do you use in order to anticipate what adjustments to make?
You just have to really study history and go back and look for the hottest races at different tracks and things that work at other places when it gets hot and slick, and try to put together a good combination of what works. And it was a beautiful day here today. I mean, you couldn't ask for better weather, and it certainly affected the fall off a little bit, but I wouldn't say it was super hot. But I think as you get into the summer, we're going to have some races that'll definitely come into play for sure. And you just really have to look back at your notes and try to put together a plan.
All right. Thank you.
Our final question will come from George Poley. Go ahead with the question, George.
Jeremy, wondering if you could put into words how much you have or have not adjusted to racing and in the era of COVID, and is it starting to feel normal?
It's still a pretty big change. This mask is, that's probably the biggest thing. It's hard to get used to wearing one all the time, but it's part of what we got to do. The victory lane ceremonies are kind of a buzzkill, but we still take the trophy home, so we'll get over that. But I think that the weird thing is you hate it for the fans. I think I can think of 2 or 3 events over the last 2 or 3 weeks that if you weren't watching the race and you were here, you wouldn't know anything was going on, but this whole place would have erupted on the last couple laps if it'd been full of fans. So hopefully we can get that back to normal soon. So it is certainly different. But at the end of the day, we still have to do our jobs, and the races are still there to be won. So we got to focus on that part of it and just hope that the rest of it gets back to normal sooner than later.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Jeremy, congratulations again on another win. Thanks for taking the time, and good luck at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Thank you very much.
Take care now.
Thanks.
As a reminder, everybody, we will have audio, video, and transcripts available of this availability on NASCARmedia.com. Check back on the press conference schedule page later this week for upcoming media availabilities that we will have. And of course, we have tomorrow night